Excellent, excellent. I think we have people trickling in, and we'll give everybody like a few more minutes to join us. But welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone. It's nice to see all the names of the folks joining. We really appreciate you. Many of you have been long-term XSITE supporters. Some of you are previous investors, and some are new investors or prospective investors. We are super excited to have you. Super excited to have you here today, and looking forward to present this deal. I'm especially ecstatic about this deal because I truly believe this is probably one of the best deals we've ever presented. And looking forward to hearing your questions and your concerns and addressing them hopefully. But yeah, and we'll be able to take off very shortly. Very shortly. On the panelists, for those that are already here with us, on the panelists here, we have the entire XSITE team. I'm Julius Oni, Dr. Julius Oni, the CEO and co-founder at XSITE Capital. With me here also is Mr. Tenny Tolofari, who is our Director of Acquisitions and co-founder. We call him Tenacious Tenny for a reason, because it makes the deal flow happens. And also we have our awesome Mr. Leslie Awesome, who is our Director of Operations and co-founder, and is the brains behind the operations and gets everything going and gets everything moving for XSITE Capital. Last but not least, we have Braden Haid, who is our fantastic executive assistant and does way more than that for us. And we have him to thank actually for this fantastic presentation that we're about to present today. So Braden don't have a great nickname yet, but I'm still working on it. Yeah, so but this
the amazing Braden.
no, it's gotta be something that rhymes.
That's fine for now. I'll take it.
It's too close to awesome, so so we need to find something unique. But anyways, it seems like people are trickling in, and it's 6:05, so we may as well start because we want to be respectful of your times. So Leslie, if you could just monitor or Braden, if you monitor the chat for us, that'd be fantastic. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So let's just get started. So we are XSITE Capital Investment, and we are here today to present the Bank Lofts. The Land Bank Lofts, and it's 1401 Hampton Street in Columbia, South Carolina. These are like 113 units, and in the next slides, it's just going to show you a few pictures. Obviously, that's the table of content, but the next slide is going to show you a few pictures so you can get a feel for how beautiful and gorgeous this property is. Obviously, you can still see the name of the previous banks on the building. These are old banks that were converted in 2016 into apartments. So this is a Class A property in the most Class A plus location in Columbia, South Carolina. Obviously, we'll go into a lot of details about the location, but there are a lot of things that we love about these deals. And prior to me talking to you about those things, obviously our lawyers make us tell you about this disclaimer. What we're about to share with you is we're not selling any securities or soliciting you to sell a security. We are just educating you about this investment opportunity, and we will provide you all the documents that support everything that we're going to share with you today. That's going to be in your private placement memorandum, the subscription agreement, and the operating agreement, so that you will be able to double check all of this things with us. Ultimately, this investment is obviously illiquid, meaning that it's a long-term investment. So you have to be prudent in your decision to join us in this on the ownership group of this particular property. Consult your attorney, your CPA, your financial advisor to make sure this is a suitable investment for your portfolio. Yeah. And so the executive summary of this apartment is that it's located on 1401 Hampton Street, and it was actually two banks, a bank, AG First Farm Credit Bank, which was built in 1924. And in 2016, just like I said, this was converted to apartments. And since then, it's been run as apartments by the current owners. It's a beautiful building, as you can see with the elevators there. There are literally still some safes from the old bank in people's apartments. That's our vintage and how cool it is. It's got very high ceilings. It's a really, really beautiful building to walk through. Go next slide, Braden. So on this particular deal, we are buying it for about $17.45 million at a 5 cap. And it's currently about 99% occupied. And the equity that we need to raise in this building is about $5.75 million. And we are projecting that for all our investors, we'll be able to give you about 2.3 to 2.7 x equity multiple, an IRR, that's an internal rate of return of about 15 to 18%, and an average annual returns of about 19 to 25%, all depending on the market conditions. This property is located in about 2.2 acres. It's got about 145 surface parking spots right next to it. It's primed for value-add and enhancement, and it's literally one of the premier downtown residences in Colombia. And we'll show you why that is. It is super unique, and this is, as an investor, this will be your chance to own a piece of downtown Columbia, South Carolina, which is the capital of South Carolina. And interestingly, also, this property is also just a few steps away from the South Carolina Capitol building. So it's a beautiful one. Property benefits. I mean, just look at the aesthetics of that property. This is walking in, that's the pool. And those are that's one of the apartments. There are upscale kitchens, stainless steel appliances. There's a secure entry. There's a package acceptance area. All these things we are going to find do some value add, and we'll explain that later. Next slide. Just like I was mentioning earlier, this location is prime. Columbia Metro Statistical Area itself is located smack at a confluence of about 3 different interstates. So that makes it a prime area for companies that are trying to expand and that needs that access to the interstate to get their goods and services to other places. Actually, as a matter of fact, in this past year, Nephron Pharmaceutical just announced a $300 million expansion in Colombia, creating 380 new jobs. Other companies too, like the Mike's Hard Lemonade, are also building a $400 million production and distribution facility, creating additional jobs. And just like these two employers, many more are coming into this area. Columbia MSA has grown significantly in the last decade, and it's actually projected to grow 43% in the next decade. I'm going to pause and just repeat that again. Columbia MSA, Columbia, South Carolina, is projected to grow for the next decade. That's by 2030, it's expected to grow that much. So what comes with that? That means there's jobs coming. That means there's employees coming in. That means there are going to be renters coming in. That means there's going to be even more demand going after the limited supply in that area, and there are not that many developments coming up in that area. So it's a fantastic area that is growing fast. And how do we know? How are we so confident about this? We just bought a property in Columbia, South Carolina in April 2021. And we have been able to actually prove this in dollars, that this is a fast growing area with significant rent growth, with increasing median household income, and with increasing population growth. So we'll go into a lot more details about that later. Next page. So Prisma Health, one of the biggest hospitals in the area, is one block away. You can actually see it from this building. And a good number of our tenants or prospective tenants, the people who are going to be our tenants once we take over ownership of this, are actually people that work at Prisma Health. Next. The average household income in the building is $113,000 per year. And the people that work in the building also work in different sectors: healthcare, financial services, education. Those are some of the most common jobs or employee sectors that people work in for tenants that are leaving the building. Obviously, we have some graduate students too that go to University of South Carolina, and their parents pay for them, and they are great tenants also. So we have a good number of those too in the building. But healthcare practitioners, banking and financial services people in education are the vast majority of people living in the building. Profile of the property. So once again, we're buying it for $17.5 million. It was really built in 2016 because that's when it was converted. Everything was fitted at that point. You know, the plumbing, the kitchen, everything that you would be concerned about was built in 2016. That's when the apartments were built. Columbia has a population of 843K and counting. This is 113 units on 2.2 acres, currently 99% occupied, and occupies about 73,000 square feet. Next. Just more pictures showing the aesthetics of this property. It's beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead, next. Here are some of the community amenities. I just want to kind of highlight some of the high-end interior finishes, the high ceilings. There's a beautiful pool that we're going to even make more beautiful. There's a business center. There are bike racks. There are some Juliet balconies in some of the apartments, quartz countertops. Next. This is the unit mix. It's mostly one bedroom, but there are significant numbers of 2-bedroom, 2 baths, 26 of them, and then 23 studios, which is ideal for students or even some young healthcare professionals. There's an average square footage of about 646 for the units. Next. So what is our business plan? We plan to add value to this property by putting in a dog park, because a lot of people have dogs in the building. We want to put a dog wash station to make it more attractive to folks that, well, prospective tenants and the current tenants. We're going to retrofit the plumbing so that we could conserve water and save on the expenses with that. And that's also good for the environment. We will renovate the pool house and bring it to the 2021 because right now it looks like a 2016 pool. We're going to modernize it and make it really attractive so that even passerbys will know that this is a special building. We are going to put in Amazon lockers and package system so that is increased significant value add to the tenants, since everybody shops on Amazon these days. We also, for the interior value adds, we would need to do smart home features and upgrades, which would include smart locks, smart thermostats, and smart water valves. We're going to add storage spaces to the building because a lot of the building, actually, there's a lot of dead spaces in the building that could be utilized and reimagined into storage, so that people would have overflow of materials or belongings can, instead of going to CubeSmart or some other outside storage place, they could just store their material, their things in the building for a very low price, and that increases the revenue of the building. We've identified an elevator that needs repair or replacement, and we've earmarked some money to like do that, and so that there's no issues with getting the tenants up and down from the building. Next. Oh, actually, go back to that page. The projected timeline and cost of all of this is going to be 3 months. We expecting an average cost of about $6,000 per unit. And once these units have been turned around, the value add rental premium for those units that have the smart, features and all this different value add is going to be about $100. And the total value add cost is about $700,000. Next. And this is just an illustration of what the smart apartment tech package is going to look like, with the smart lock, the smart thermostat, and the smart water valve and flow meter. Next. We also are planning to insert and place a spacious co-working area for the residents, because with one of the dead spaces or one of the current co-working space or the current business center, we're going to make it into a beautiful co-working space where people can actually work from home if they need to, and they could rent it for group work or solo work, or rent a table there for the month, or whatever it is that they need. We're going to make sure that, and this is something that we did based on feedback from the current residents. So this is going to be a significant value add that's going to make the building very attractive to current tenants and prospective tenants. Next. The primary business plan is going to be to sell this building at year 7, and we are projecting an average annual return of 19 to 25% at that time, and a 2.3x to 2.7x equity multiple. What that means is that if you invested $100,000 in this deal, that at that time, when it's all said and done, when you combine your cash flow that you've been getting on a yearly basis with the upside, the profits that you get from the sale, it's going to be about $230,000 to $270,000. That is what the equity multiple means for those that don't understand that. However, based on what the market conditions are, if the market conditions demand it, we also have a backup business plan, and that will be to refinance at year 7, return 100% of your capital, meaning 100% of your capital at that time, plus all the cash flow that you've made in 7 years. And by that time, you would have made at least 1.5x of what you invested, and then keep you in the deal for infinite returns, where you're just making cash flow year in, year out. Okay, so that's one of the secondary business plans depending on the market conditions. Next. Just a little bit of the rent comps. So right now we are somewhere in the middle of the rent comps in the market. Next slide. So that's Land Bank Lofts right there, with an average rent of like $1,158. Just kind of go to the next pages. So the next is like about $1,200. There's another one, Capitol Place, is about $1,200. This 700 Woodrow is $1,600 a total average rent. Vista Lofts is about $1,634. Next. There are some that are a little less, obviously, also, but some of them have less nicer vintage compared to ours. Market analysis. Let's talk about that. Why do we love this market? Columbia is super close to 3 major metro areas: Charlotte, Atlanta, and Charleston. And all 3 places that are growing fast and expanding significantly. And Columbia, just as those 3 markets, also is growing significantly in population, just like I explained to you earlier. If you do not know, there's been a decade-long migration pattern of people moving from the north of the US to the southern part of the US. And a lot of the places that are taking advantage of that migration are places like Charlotte, Atlanta, Charleston, and Columbia. Obviously, there's Texas, Also Florida is taking advantage of that, but all of these places are continuing to grow on a daily basis. Next. So this is just showing the interconnectivity with regards to the interstate of Columbia, South Carolina, with Interstate 77, 20, and 26. Next. Colombia has been given a lot of awards recently, and for everything from millennials, for being ideal for millennials, to being ideal for being one of the top 20 places to retire. So it's a great place for everybody from millennials to boomers, pretty much. And it's also been identified as a great, most affordable city to start a business. It was ranked number 2 by Smart Assets for that in 2016 and continues to be. Next. The Colombia market continues to grow significantly. The population growth in the last 10 years was about 8.6%, but it's projected to grow about 43% in the next decade. The year-over-year rent growth in the last year alone was 10%. And we can say that for sure because we have experienced it at our deal, The View, which is just a few minutes from this particular deal. We bought that deal for about $12.5 million in April. In November, we checked for the valuation of the property and it was $17.5 million. That's $5 million of appreciation in 6 months. So this is a market that is growing fast. And we have not even completed our business plan on that particular deal. So obviously we didn't sell, we're still growing it. And our hope is that our investors in that deal are gonna be very happy with the fact that we over-delivered on our promises to them. Next. So once again, the strength of Colombia, it's a great place. It's the cultural center of Central South Carolina, and it's definitely the capital of South Carolina. Once again, a recent UN study projected that it's going to grow by 43% by 2030. So that's where that statistics came from. And it's across the street from this building. Once again, it's the Prisma Health Baptist Hospital, which is one of the largest employers in the area. University of South Carolina is literally 4-minute bike ride away. And University of South Carolina actually employs 1 out of every 9 people in that particular area. So it's this is a prime location. I can't overemphasize that enough. Next. So this is just proving it to you. So that is right in the center, and marked number 1 is the building and the parking lot right next to it. And you can see how close all the different locations. The Prisma Health Baptist Church is right next door. It's across the street. The University of South Carolina School of Law is not far away at all, just down the street. The State Capitol grounds, that's number 8. It's just a few blocks away. That's the state capitol. A bunch of hotels around. There are a lot of nice restaurants around there too. Next. This is just a few more things around. The Main Street, Dick Street, which is the main business district around there, is just a few minutes walk away. And the Arcade Building, which was the first indoor shopping center, is just a few steps away also. Next. Also, just blocks away, about 7 blocks to be exact, is the $1.3 billion development project that is being completed right now. It also has a baseball stadium attached to it. And with this is going to come a whole lot of economic activity that Land Bank is going to take advantage of, and a lot of population growth that's going to come with this, and that we also going to be taking advantage of over the next several years. Next, that's the baseball stadium, which is part of the Bull Street district development. Next. Obviously, the University of South Carolina is a big employer in the area, and has a $3.7 billion economic impact on that area. Next. Aflac is there, Blue Cross Blue Shield is there. All of these different companies, from tech to banking to insurance to healthcare. I mean, you can't ask for anything better. Next. Financial analysis. This is where I pass it over to the brains of the business, Mr. Leslie. Awesome.
Thank you, Julius, for that kind introduction. Again, welcome everybody, and thank you guys for being here. As our CEO, Dr. Julius Oni, mentioned on the previous slides, we are buying this property entry cap rate, T12 cap rate at about a 5%, which is unheard of in the current market, which is one of the reasons why we've been working so hard on this deal. Tenny has been doing an amazing job in trying to follow up on this since August, and we're grateful to be presenting it to you guys today. Again, it's a 7-year hold. Total equity needed to close the deal is about $5.7 million. And we are projecting a 15% to 18% IRR and a 19 to 25% average annual return, with an equity multiple of 2.3 to 2.7%. And this is all conservative projections. For the debt on this building, we are assuming an existing loan, which was something that we really are excited about, especially in this present economic climate, because going into the property, we know what our debt interest rate is going to be over the next 7 years. As you guys probably know, the Fed is predicting increasing interest rates over the next couple of years to kind of stabilize the economy with inflation and everything that we keep hearing about. No one really knows how high the interest rates are going to go up. So with this property, we are going in knowing exactly what interest rates we're going to have over the next 7 years. So our cash flows are kind of predictable because we know what numbers that we're going to be getting in on the debt side going in. And the other great thing about this is upon takeover of the property, we'll probably have about 6 months of interest only payments left, which means from year one, we're already paying down on the principal on the property, which means we're building equity from paying down the principal from year one. And with that, doing that, we're still able to cash flow on the property and produce the returns that we're producing. And the debt is a 10-year term debt with fixed interest rate. There's a prepayment penalty on the debt that expires in 2028. Next slide. This is just a highlight of the underwriting. Unfortunately, you cannot get the whole underwriting here on one screen, but I'm just going to point out to some points just to show how conservative we do our underwriting on deals. And we do this because we want our investors going into deals to have the confidence knowing that in case of anything, any unplanned thing happen, we have enough cushion to sustain that we still make the deal be able to meet our projections. As you can see, our average effective rent going in is about $1,100. We are projecting that on exit, market rent is going to be about $1,500 and the effective rent about $1,400. As Dr. Julius only mentioned in the rent comps that you saw, there are properties right now in downtown Columbia that are getting an average rent of $1,600 already. Yeah, given some of those properties, the unit sizes are slightly bigger than the ones we have over here, but for downtown location, is usually not much difference as far as the size versus the rent. So we do have a tremendous amount of room to grow on this property. And that's probably one of the reasons why the property is currently 99% occupied. And it has been that way for the past 4 months. So this is a really, really good one going in, and we're really excited to be presenting it to you guys. Another point I would like to highlight is the tax line. This is a historic building, so it was renovated using historic tax credits. So the building qualifies for tax write-offs. So we're going in with a fixed tax rate for a number of years. So our taxes do not change even upon takeover. Taxes is something that has killed so many deals that we've looked at in Colombia because we underwrite a lot of deals to find the one that makes sense. And usually when you get the tax bill back, it's like just eats up on the cash flow. So this is one exciting piece about this property. The taxes are predictable. They are fixed over a duration of our hold, which it significantly increases our cash flow. This is a sensitivity analysis, which just shows you where we're going in, and what can happen if the market changes a little bit. Now, just to give you a little more insights, right now, the average cap rate for a Class A property like this one in Colombia is about 4% or lower. We've actually seen deals sell in Colombia, a subpar 4 cap rate at about a 3.2, 3.5 cap rate. But we're going into this property at a 5 cap rate. And one of the reasons for that is because of the interest rate that we're going in at this time, being that the interest rates it's about 3% going in on some of the debt that is available right now. But most of that debt is not long-term debt, it's bridge debt, short-term, which means after a period of time, you have to refinance and you don't know what rate you're going to refinance into. So with us going in on a fixed rate, we're going in at a better cap rate going in. So on exit, even if the market changes significantly and the cap rates expand, you're still able to produce a 2x multiple on your investment, looking at the sensitivity analysis. So we are very, very conservative going in. If we were just to assume that we're going in on where the average market cap rate is right now and exiting 10 basis point increase over the 7-year period, then we'll be looking at a 2.9x multiple. But we don't underwrite and project that aggressively. We rather underpromise and overdeliver than to do the opposite. Again, this is an illustration of where our projections sit right now, showing your cash flows from year 1 to year 7. Between year 1 and year 2, your cash flows are going to be about $6,700 annually, which is distributed quarterly in quarterly distributions. Year 2, the cash flow drops a little bit from year 1 because year 2 will be the first year where we pay principal throughout the 12 months. For year 1 is going to be over 6 months. And from year 3, your cash flow increases to $7,500 and keep increasing afterwards. And based on our current projections, on year 7, $100,000 investment, you're going to end up with $234,000, which is about a 2.3x multiple. And again, these are all conservative estimates. And based on what we're seeing in the market, we are very confident that we should be able to meet these projections. Again, and this is one very exciting fact that I want to reiterate. Taxes on this property are fixed until 2034. That means even if we exiting on year 7, there's still enough meat left on the bone to pass over to the next person. Like the aspect of having fixed taxes at that very low rate is very attractive to investors as well. And there's an opportunity to extend these tax credits after it expires because of the historic nature of this building. South Carolina wants doing a great job to preserve some of these historic buildings, and Land Bank, it's one of those. It's a beautiful, beautiful building, and we're really excited to be able to partner with you guys on this one. On that note, I'm going to pass it back to our CEO and Dr. Julius Oni.
Yeah. So our management team comprises of me, Dr. Julius Oni, who is the CEO and co-founder of XSITE Capital. Mr. Tenny Tolafari, who is currently traveling. Otherwise, he'll be presenting this part of the talk actually to you guys today. So but you know, he is the soul of the company and keeps everything moving. He actually moved his entire family to Charlotte, North Carolina when we began this relationship to become our boots on ground and to really make us competitive on ground. And our successes so far is greatly a credit to the amazing work that Tenny has done with the brokers on ground. Leslie is our co-founder and director of operations and does a lot of the operations of the business and the underwriting, and he runs an underwriting class on every Tuesday night. And that has been a great value add to our community of investors and people learning from us. We also have Braden Aid, who's a fantastic executive assistant and who has done a lot to pull all of this together. If you're going to be investing in this deal, you're going to be interfacing quite a bit with Braden. And you'll get to know him and get to know how much of a force of nature he is also. So next. We also have some strategic partners, our key principals, Chris Lento and Brad Kangiamila. Both of them are people that we have worked with very closely with on our previous deal in Columbia, South Carolina. And Chris has over 18 years of experience of multifamily ownership, management, and investing, and it operates multiple multifamily units in different states. Brad is a Boston-based developer who has done over $132 million worth of real estate transactions in the last 5 years. These two are fantastic people who we work with closely on a lot of our deals, and we're looking forward to working with on this particular deal also. First Communities Management is a gem. They manage over 200 units in the US, and also manage our other deal, which is just a few minutes away. They actually, on that particular deal, which is called The View, excuse me, we actually won an award for the most improved apartment community in Columbia, South Carolina. And that award was just presented to us like just a few weeks ago. And we expect them to do the same thing with this particular building. Excuse me. We expect them to do the same thing with this particular building, and to really manage it efficiently, reduce the expenses, help us generate additional revenue on this particular, excuse me, on this particular building. Leslie, take over.
Sorry about that, Julius. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Like Julius was saying, First Community manages over 200,000 units in the US, and they are a key part of our business team. They're a key part of our growth. They've done an amazing job so far with our assets, and we expect them to continue to do an amazing job with the asset. And they were one of the people that really brought to our attention the value, the true value of this building, because we would not buy a property unless we are certain that our property managers give our approval on it, and they love this building, and we can't wait to start managing it and improving everything with the management itself. We're gonna move over to our portfolio. So some of you have joined us on some of these deals, and we are grateful to always have you as partners in this deal. Our portfolio includes the Griffin at Petworth, which is a 49-unit condo conversion that we purchased in July of 2020. We also have the View at St. Andrews, which is the property that we mentioned as another property that we own in Columbia, South Carolina. And just to give you a real example of what has happened to the View since we purchased it, from April to November, we've been able to increase the rent organically at the View by $150. These are rent increases before renovation. And this is because of what is happening in the Columbia market. It's not something that's unique to the View, something that is happening in a lot of properties that are properly located in Columbia, South Carolina. So by those rent increases, that's how we've been able to increase the value to the valuation that Dr. Oni mentioned earlier. And we also have Elevated on Main Street, which is a $76 million deal that we acquired in collaboration with our partners, Viking Capital. And now we have Bank Lofts, which will be taken down shortly with a group of investors. And we plan to continue to grow our portfolio and to continue to provide solid opportunities for wealth growth to members of our investor community. On that note, this is what we have for the presentation for you guys. Please give us access as many questions as you need. We still have time to answer as many questions as you have. And if you have any other questions that you want to reach out to us later on, you could contact my director of investor relations and CEO, Dr. Julius Oni, and Braden Hyde as well. And their emails are all listed over there. And if you're ready to soft commit and reserve your spot on the deal, just scan the QR code on your screen, and you should be able to make a soft commit on the soft commit form. And we are very grateful, really, really grateful, because so far, from just launching the deal within a small community of our investors, we've been able to get over 50% of soft commits, and the commits keep coming in. We are grateful to say that, and most of our past deals, we've been oversubscribed. And it's looking like we expect this one to do the same thing because this is a very good deal as well. So go ahead and reserve your spot. We anticipate funding will begin in about 2 weeks. Go ahead and reserve your spot, and so that you join us on this journey as well. That's what I got. Julius, you want to add anything else?
No, some of my friends who are like in the group are telling me, Julius, it's COVID. Well, I've been tested too many times in the last couple of days, and no, it's not COVID. Thank you. I just had some coughing fits, but thank you so much for the concern. But yeah, but thank you so much, everybody. We are super. I think I was just so excited that my throat got so excited that it decided to go into a coughing fit for the land bank lofts. So we hope that you would join us on the ownership group of this particular acquisition. And we hope that at the least that you would actually join our community and learn more. Even if you are not ready to invest at this time, our goal is to work as hard as possible to educate you as much as possible about this alternative asset class. You can invest with cash. You can invest with your, retirement accounts. You can invest, using multiple different, like solo 401ks, self-directed IRAs, and we can help you with that. If you have a self-directed IRA or solo 401k and you want to invest from that, let us know. We'll put you in touch with our guy at Adventure, and we'll make that work. But I think some questions are coming in. I think there's a question from Duke, who is a very dear friend of ours and previous collaborator. How is that metal heavy vault door used on the property now?
It's a huge conversation piece. I actually got a chance to meet the tenant that lives in that apartment. He loves it. He says it's a huge conversation piece for parties that he holds in his apartments, and everybody wants to talk about it and look at it. So he just has it over there, and it's beautiful. It fits very well the way they're built around it. So I would love to have it in my apartment.
Are there any other questions? Please drop questions in the chat.
Yeah, there's another question that says, how were you able to purchase this great asset at such a good cap rate, 5% compared to the market cap of 4%? That's a great question, Hunt. So one of the reasons is because of the interest rate. The interest rate is a little higher based on what the market interest rates are right now. And the other reason is we've been chasing this deal since August. To work on this deal as completely off market. So we've been working really hard. Again, Tenny has done an amazing job in building the relationships. We've been working very hard to make sure that it doesn't come to market. We're very sure that if it had come to market, it probably would have gone in a little bit higher than what we're getting it for. So again, one of the reasons is the interest rate, and the other reason is the relationship that we've built over time.
That is great. And I think another question came on about Ike, who is a fantastic, wonderful person and a previous investor, said, I understood Rogine to be the brains behind the operations. I no longer see her on the team. Can you shed some light on that? Yeah, absolutely. So at some point earlier this year, we decided to move on with Rogine because she needed to do some other things. She wanted to explore other options. And so we were lucky to have Braden join the team. And as you will be able to tell, once you've gotten to meet and interact with Braden, you would understand how amazing the new addition has been. And we expect Braden to continue to grow with the company for a long time. So, but thanks so much for that question, Ike. And I'm more than happy to shed even more light on that for you if you need.
So, and another question is, what was the community name that won the most improved? That's the View. The View, that's VUE, the View at St. Andrews. And that award was given by the Columbia Apartment Owners Association. It was given out last week.
Any other questions?
So
Let's keep them coming.
Yeah, we have a few here, Julius.
Oh, fantastic. Braden, you want to read them?
Yeah, from Duke Lee, it says, so you are assuming the prior owner's loan, right?
that's correct. Yes.
That is very correct.
And then another, he says, do you plan to continue in the Colombia market?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We love Colombia. This is our second acquisition in Colombia, and we've been digging really hard in Colombia since the last one. It's just been very, very difficult to find deals that made sense, that are good enough for us to present to our investor community until this one came along. So we're going to be in Colombia for a while. Obviously, we're going to own this property in Colombia for at least 7 years. So we're going to be in there for a while. We hope to add more to our portfolio down there.
Awesome. And this is Ed. Oh, that's Ed, not Duke.
I guess Ed is using Duke's computer or something.
Oh, that's interesting. That's awesome. Thank you, Ed, for those fantastic questions. And I think just for the people that can't see it, Ed also said, awesome presentation. Looking forward to invest. Tremendous dedication. We really thank you, Ed. Really, really appreciate you. We do it because, I mean, the reason why we at XSITE Capital even existed in the first place is because we started to find out about multifamily, and we realized that many people in our communities, our professional communities, our communities where we live, we didn't really know, a lot of people did not know about this particular asset class. So we decided that we were going to be the ambassadors. We were going to be the evangelists. We were going to go on the mountaintop and tell anyone and everyone that was willing to listen to us that there is this alternative asset class that many, many other people have been taking advantage of for a long, long time. And it is possible for us to band together to do it too. Yes, I personally, as Julius, only do not have $20 million to go buy a land bank loft, but I have my community that we can all come together and we could pull our resources together and buy these properties and own these properties and take advantage of the awesome wealth growing possibilities that these alternative assets present to us. So my position to you would be to say that, if you don't know a lot about this properties or multifamily in general, read more, join us. We'll be more than happy to show you and teach you a lot more about those properties. And we do hope that you're able to join us in this particular acquisition.
And that was the question, will you send out updates and subscription status at various thresholds, that 70, 80, 90 to your investor list?
What was the question?
Like, are we going to send out status, subscription status at various thresholds? That's example 70%, 80%.
Oh yeah, definitely. Han, for sure. Right now we are about probably 60% subscribed. I would imagine that by the weekend we should probably be somewhere in the 70s to 75% subscribed. And this is going to fill up pretty quickly, but who knows? But if going by previous experiences, I think we'll probably oversubscribe on this one, and at some point we'll be 100% subscribed, but we'll still let people soft commit even past that point. What matters is when your money hits. If once you've reviewed the documents, if you still think this is a good option for your portfolio, then you want to wire your money as quickly as possible, because that's just first come first serve. Whoever sends their money into the account first is who gets into the deal. And in our previous 2 deals, we've had to send people's money back, which is always really tough. But I think that's why we have been able to fill this up so quickly, because those people that weren't able to get in the previous deals are the ones who pretty much are filling up the deals pretty quickly now, because they understand the importance of really locking down a spot for themselves. What's the rationale for holding for 7 years, which I believe is longer than your previous deals? Absolutely. So if we were to exit out of this before 7 years, we would have to pay a prepayment penalty, which would significantly impact the returns to the investors. So ideally, we want to keep this for about 7 years. But for example, if we get to 5 years and the profits that we were going to get in this is still so great that after paying the prepayment penalty, we will still be able to, surpass the expectations when it comes to the returns that we promised you, then yeah, we'll exit at that time. But ideally, we would like to keep this for the long term, keep the cash flow. And if the market conditions at that time even does not allow us to exit or doesn't advise, it's not ideal for an exit, then we'll just refi, give you your money back. At that point, you'll be made whole and you'll be making cash flow for infinite returns.
And just to piggyback on that, it can go both ways as well. The market can get so hot that we realize that it doesn't make any sense for us to exit out of Colombia at this time, because looking at the data, we're looking at a 43% population growth between now and 2030. So let's say if we get to 2027 and we see that Colombia is growing at a significant rate, and we're still able to exit, able to refinance and meet the projections that we have right now, it will make sense for us to refinance and get those profits. And by the way, the refinance profits are tax-free because it's debt. So you're not taxed on that funds as well. Then you stay in the deal and you continue to receive cash flow. So this property is one of those that is ideal for a long-term wealth strategy, whereas others are not, that you could just flip over after 3 to 5 years and move over to the next one. But this is one of those that has that possibility to be able to be like a long-term cash flow machine where you building true mailbox money. It is one of the reasons why we're very, very excited about this deal, because I'm sure there's no investor that would not want to have all their returns back and still continue to get returns from the deal. So this is one that has that potential for sure.
And let's not forget that the tax treatment of this for this deal is unique in the sense that literally $78,000 is fixed until 2034. Our smaller deal in that we bought for $12.5 million in April, we paying what in taxes on that? Like 200 and what?
Yeah, we're gonna pay $232,000 next year in taxes.
And this deal, we're paying $70,000, and that's fixed for the long term. So that's amazing. And we are also going to be paying down the debt on this property. So you're increasing the equity in the deal in multiple ways, by the organic appreciation, by the forced appreciation using our value add strategy, by paying down the debt, and then by keeping the expenses minimal because of the tax treatment. So this is like a holy grail of deals as far as I'm concerned. We have a few friends who are super experienced and they see a lot of deal flow, and almost universally everybody's telling me that this is the best deal on their table right now. So, but don't believe me, believe the data. Please do the research on this deal. Go into, do some more digging about the market, and really come back with questions. We will be more than happy to take your questions and answer them to the best of our abilities. But thank you. And I think we're coming up on time, but I still want to take as many questions as you may have. Do we have any more questions?
I don't see any more.
Okay, fantastic. Actually, that was perfect. It's 6:59. And
so, before you wrap up, I'm just going to talk about timeline. So we expecting funding to begin on this deal in about 2 weeks. In this point, we continue to take self-commit, and funding is probably going to close around January 14. That's the timeline right now. And we are planning to close on the deal towards the end of January. Again, it's an assumable loan, so sometimes that might take a little bit of delays, but we anticipate closing by the end of January on this deal. So take your time and review and ask any questions that you have. And looking forward to you guys joining us on this deal.
Absolutely. We know we really appreciate you guys being here. We know you could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. We don't take that for granted. We truly appreciate you, and we're certainly looking forward to you joining us in this fantastic opportunity. Thank you again, and have a fantastic night. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.